Hello! We're back again with another lesson, phonic lesson. And for today, I will introduce to you about 4 sounds. First one would be k, k. The second would be eh, eh. The third would be ah, ah. And the last one would be just like a pirate. Alright, as usual, before we proceed any further, I'd like to establish learning objectives for this lesson. Number 1 would be you should be able, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to sound the 4 sounds: the k, the eh, the ah, and also the r. And number 2 would be that you should be able to trace and write at least 8 out of 10 words that we are going to take a look at. The first sound would be k. How do you write that? It's actually CK combined together. So the sound would be get that? Alright, one more time. CK. One example of the word that you use to sound the sound k is duck. Duck. D, a, k. The end sound is called k. Okay, another example of word would be sock. Sock. S or k. Sock. The next sound would be eh. Eh. One word that you can use to illustrate the sound eh is, for example, here's a simple one. The one that you would normally see every day in the kitchen. The word is ache. Ache. Eh. G. Ache. Okay. The next, another word to illustrate the sound of eh would be elephant. Eh. Elephant. It can also be used in the you can also find word that has the sound eh in the middle. For example, nest. N, eh, s, t. Nest. N, est. Nest. Alright, next sound would be ah. Ah. Okay, normally a lot of people will get this sound wrong because the letter will be U, but the sound, it doesn't really follow the letter. It doesn't go like U is for U. No, the sound for U is actually ah, short ah. Ah. Okay, one example to illustrate the sound of ah would be sun. S, ah, sun. You don't call the sun sun. You call it sun because of the sound ah. S, ah, sun. Same goes for mug. Mug. Ah, g. Mug. Okay. Another example, famous example, would be like bus. B. Ah. S. You don't call it bus. You call it bus because of the sound again. Ah. B. Ah. S. Bus. Okay, this last sound will require you guys to be a pirate because the sound goes like r, 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 r. The word to To illustrate the sound would be, for example, simple one, an animal, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Another word would be rose, 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 Okay, just to help you understand it better, the words and the sounds that we have sounded together just now, I'm gonna give you like a clear example, maybe in a form of pictures. Okay, so let's check it out together.
All right. Okay. For the first sound, we shall go with CK. CK. Right. This is like the sound. So as I've mentioned earlier, one example of CK would be a word with the sound of CK, just k, sorry, is duck. D-U-C-K. So the sound at the end of it would be k, k, k. Okay, a duck. Donald Duck. Ooh. A duck. Another word would be like sock. S-O-K. Sock is like something that you wear before you put on your shoes, you know? This is a pair of sock. Or another word for sock is stocking. Stocking, I guess. That would be something more of a familiar thing to you, I think. Okay, so these are examples of the sound of k. Another example maybe like clock, you know, just to make it better for you. Clock, C-L-O-C-K. The sound at the end of it would be k, k, k. Okay, clock. So what is a clock? The device that shows you time, of course. 6 over here 9 3. So this is a clock. One ugly clock, that is. Okay, now for the sound see here, smiling Okay, example of words that I gave to you before would be egg, g, egg. The sound in the beginning would be What is an egg? Egg is something that you eat, that you normally fry, you know. For example, this is the outer layer of egg. Just like the egg when you break it into your pan. Yolk. Egg yolk. Okay. Another word would be like elephant, right? Simplest one. L-E-P-H-A-N-T. The beginning, the sound in the beginning would be How do you draw an elephant? There you go. Happy elephant, I guess. Looks like a mustache. Another example would be like maybe nest. Nest is not really the sound does not really start at the beginning. The sound would be in the middle. Nest. So what is a nest? Let me show you. Nest is actually a home for the birds, where the birds normally lay their eggs. Yeah. This is like the home for the birds. You don't call it home, you call it nest. A bird's nest. Sarang. Okay. Okay, now for the sound let me just draw. You. The sound would be okay. One example of word, as we've mentioned earlier, would be sun, I guess. The sound of you here is not ooh. Remember that, not ooh, but rather Okay, let me just draw a sun. This is a great sun. A smiling sun, I guess. Wee! Look at me, I'm so happy. Okay, the next word to illustrate the sound would be mug, I think. M-U-G, but you don't call it mug. You call it mug. Okay, what is a mug? It is a thing that you use to drink something out of it. Yeah, it's just like a coffee, a hot coffee. Yeah, remember the mug my wife gave me? This is it. Okay. Right, another word just to give you more examples so that you understand it better. Can you think of any? Let me think. Yes. Run. You don't call it run, you call it run because of the sound This is like people running. How do you draw that? This guy's late to school, I guess. On to the last sound, the pirate sound. The letter would be R, and the sound would be R. The word would be rabbit. R-A-B-B-I-T. So which one do we sound as R? Of course, this is a rabbit. Okay, let me just draw a rabbit. How do you draw a rabbit? I guess. Peter Rabbit. The teeth here, and that's a rabbit for you. An ugly rabbit, I think. Okay, another word would be rose. R-O-S-E. Rose. The sound of the R should be Let me just draw a rose. This is like a flower. A rose is a flower, you know? Okay. Just a beautiful flower that is. There's like a few petals. See? a bit of thorn here and here and here. So this is a rose, kind of like. This will do. Rose. Another word to further illustrate the sound art would be, can you think of any? Just now I gave you one example that has the sound art. It's the same thing. Run. Run. It's just people running again. Okay. Run.
So there you have it, some examples. So for your next task, just a simple task, what I want you to do would be, I want you to trace and write the words that has all the sounds that we have learned earlier in the video, and that will be completed. Trace, write, and paste it in your exercise book. And don't forget, the most important thing is to practice. Practice making the sound so that you remember it. You may get the help of your family members, your parents, anyone, as long as you get to practice the sounds that we have learned earlier. This will help you to really get it, to really understand how to actually pronounce it correctly and precisely. Okay. So just an overview of what you're supposed to do for this task. Number one would be to try and sound the sounds that we have learned earlier. And number two, you should be tracing and writing the word in the attachment that I have given to you. And lastly, you may paste it in your book and send it back to me in Google Classroom. Okay, so that will be it. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you will be able to practice it. And that's it from me. I hope to see you in another lesson. And stay safe, take care of yourself, stay away from, doing something that is not necessary. Peace out.